Hi, my name is Susan Astary, and I'm a school psychologist with Montgomery County Public Schools. This presentation is geared toward secondary students and will focus on strategies for talking with trusted adults about difficult subjects. This presentation will focus on the who, what, when, where, why, and how of talking about difficult topics. First, let's start with the rationale for even discussing this topic at the Mental Health Awareness Week. Why are we talking about communication with parents as part of this week-long event? Healthy communication with the trusted adults in our lives helps us learn how to build healthy relationships. Research suggests that there's a connection between parent-teen relationships and healthy adolescent development. However, did you know that your relationship with your parents can have an impact on your overall health throughout your life? Having a high-quality relationship with your parents can decrease your risk for heart disease and metabolic syndromes like diabetes. It's also associated with higher levels of physical activity. And there are positive effects on your mental health as well. Teenagers who have positive, healthy relationships with their parents report fewer symptoms of depression, less suicidal ideation, and better self-esteem. Healthy parent-teen relationships are also associated with teens having healthier sex behaviors later in life. In addition, research suggests that these teens may be at lower risk for substance abuse. So being able to communicate with your parents in an effective way is important for both your physical and mental health now and in the future. Although this presentation title says parents, you can use these strategies for any trusted adult in your life, like a caregiver, another family member, or a family friend who's responsible for you. Take a moment to think about a tough topic that teens often talk to adults about. What do you think of? Teens often name relationships, such as friendships or dating relationships. Bad news, like a poor test grade or a friend making a negative choice, sex, or family issues as common topics. Having to talk about these topics with an adult can bring up some pretty big feelings in teenagers. Some students talk about feeling fearful that their parents may judge them or be disappointed in them or get angry. Other students describe feeling frustrated that their parents aren't able to understand their current situation. And some may even feel afraid they'll get in trouble. Has this ever happened to you? If so, how did that situation impact your thoughts, your mood, or your behavior? For teens, it can feel uncomfortable, awkward, or embarrassing to talk about these topics. And when we feel that way, we may try to avoid having conversations rather than discussing the topic head on. Approaching a conversation as a two-way street in a mature and honest way can help you communicate effectively. To make difficult topics easier to talk about, it's helpful to already talk to your parents on a regular basis. Try to work in a time each day to talk about your normal life, how your soccer practice was, a funny video you saw online, or even asking your parent how their day was. Talking every day helps build a strong relationship with your parent. It also helps these difficult conversations run more smoothly. So, when is the best time to talk to your parents or trusted adult about these topics? Tip 1, wait until you're calm. When we're feeling emotional, it's easy to overreact, say things we don't mean, or forget everything that we want to mention. So before you approach a difficult topic with your parent, engage in some calming strategies to relax your body and mind. This looks different for everyone, but it could be journaling your ideas, drawing, or meditation. It could also be helpful to burn off some physical energy by going for a walk or a run, dancing, or playing a sport. Being calm helps us avoid sounding argumentative or using a negative tone of voice. Tip 2, be thoughtful about the timing and the location. You want to find a time that is peaceful and a place that is private without other people around. So you may need to plan for this in advance. Think about when you and your parent have the most energy and the least amount of stress. If mornings are already hectic while everyone in your household is trying to get ready for school and work, you may want to try the evening. If you have younger siblings, it may be helpful to wait until they're in bed so you have a more private time with your parent. If your parent works in the evening, you could consider waking up a few minutes earlier to talk with them at the beginning of the day without an audience. Make sure you choose a time where you're able to have a full discussion without being rushed. Again, think about a time that is peaceful and a place that is private. Tip 3, choose a time where you can be doing something at the same time as having the conversation. Oftentimes, it's easier to have a difficult discussion when we can be engaged in another activity. So, for example, you could consider talking to your parent while you're on a walk together, or maybe while they're driving and you're sitting in the passenger seat. You could also talk while helping them with a chore like doing dishes or folding laundry. This takes some of the pressure off of having to sit and stare at each other's faces. And what are some strategies for actually talking about it? What would you say and in what way? Tip 1, plan ahead. Most of us don't communicate effectively on the fly. You need to have specific ideas about what you want to say, what you want the end result to be, and why. It may be helpful to actually write down the main points you want to make. This helps you clearly organize your thoughts, and you can refer back to your notes while talking. Tip 2, think about your goal. Do you want your parent to just listen to you? Do you want their advice? Are you wanting their permission for something? Let them know that at the beginning of the conversation, like saying, Dad, I want to tell you about a problem I'm having with a friend, but I don't want any advice yet. I just want you to listen for now. Or maybe, Grandma, can you give me some advice about a problem I'm having at school? Let them know the goal in advance to help frame the conversation. 3, discuss how you are feeling in the situation. Focus on talking about yourself rather than other people, which can sometimes sound like you're accusing someone. It can be helpful to use an I statement, and there's a blank sample I statement on the screen. But an example I statement would be, I feel nervous when I talk about my mistakes. I want you to listen to my concerns and consider my solution to the problem. Tip 4, be clear and honest. You may feel uncomfortable giving details, but your parent needs to understand the whole situation. They need to trust you and understand what's really going on. Admit when you've made a mistake or have done something you shouldn't have. Tip 5, brainstorm reasonable solutions. Rather than just complaining about the problem, propose at least one reasonable idea that could help solve the issue. You could also ask your parents for their help in this area. 6, consider your parents' point of view and think about your delivery. Your parents are human too, and they can sometimes feel put off or criticized just like teenagers do. They're having to adapt to your new level of independence as you get older and more mature. So recognize their viewpoint or ask for it. Also keep in mind that their major concerns are probably related to your safety. And the final tip for how, tip 7, listen. Epictetus, a Greek philosopher, once said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. The key to understanding is to listen to your parents' response, their concerns, and their feelings. Listen to understand rather than to come up with a reply. Here is a visual with a few reminders of some of the conversation tips we're talking about today. You can access this visual by scanning the QR code near the end of the presentation. No matter how much you plan and prepare, the conversation may not go the way you want. So know this and accept your parents' no. Although it's frustrating, it's important to know and accept that in advance. Keep your emotions in check by engaging in your favorite coping skill. This also helps to show your parent that you're handling the situation in a mature and effective way. Sometimes you may be dealing with more than just not being allowed to do something you want. Your parent may not be able or available to talk about the difficult topic you want to discuss. If this is the case, seek out another trusted adult, like a grandparent, a teacher, your school psychologist or school counselor, who's willing to listen to and understand you. Then try these same strategies with them. This is a great image that shows 50 different coping skills that can take just a few minutes. Some can be done at school and others at home. It's good to have a picture of it handy so you can refer to it when you're stressed. This is another image that can be accessed by scanning the QR code on the next slide. Today, you have learned strategies for communicating with trusted adults in an effective way. Throughout our lives, we're always learning new information about what works and what doesn't when interacting with other people. This is even true for parents. Communicating with the adults in your life is a two-way street. So I thought it would be helpful to include some video resources for your parents on this slide. What do you think about sharing these videos with the adults in your life? Encourage your parents to scan the QR code to access helpful videos and other resources from this presentation. Viewing these videos may help them understand effective ways to communicate with you as a teenager, which could have an even more positive impact on your relationship. Here are a few great resources for you and your parent to check out and refer back to after this presentation. These are the primary references from my presentation today. You can also view the links for these references by scanning the QR code from the previous slide. Good luck tackling those tough topics together by using these strategies.